Hello Laravel friends, this Laravel 11.23 release is packed with lots of new features, so let's better get started right away. Let's go. First, we continue support for backend enums in the framework. First, for gate methods like authorize, inspect, check, and more, where you can now directly provide an enum and don't have to use the value anymore. And then also when using the using method of the authorization middleware. This means less code for you to write and less typos, which I think is great. Thank you, dear. Next, we have two new validation rules, min ratio and max ratio. This comes very handy if you want to support different ratios, but not all of them. So for example, 1/2 to 1/3 is okay, but you don't want to support long screenshots. Thank you, Cam. And one more quick tip here is when you use the confirm rule, like for a password field, you can now set another parameter to define the name of the field. Because by default it's password underscore confirmation, but you might have a different style and now you can change it to whatever you need. Thank you, Johnson. But now let me show you the new when helper method. In this view file of a Livewire component, we want to conditionally add something to an HTML attribute like the div. Here we want to make sure that we add polling for a specific case. If should poll is true, then we want to add this. This works like this. You have seen this before, question mark, then the first case, and if false, then the second case, which is just an empty string. So this works, but this feels a little bit bloated. Also, the empty strings don't look so nice. So another option which we have in play is using the if directive, where we also would need now this and if directive. Is this better? I don't know. I would say they are both the same, but still, I think we can do better here. And now we really can. Let me bring in here something new, and let me introduce to you this new when helper. So this works a little bit similar to what we had before, but now we didn't have to provide a second argument. We don't have to use an endif, so we have the first condition. When this is true, then we want to add this here, which is pretty nice. And of course, this doesn't need to be used only for Livewire components. Wherever you need something based on just one condition, if this is true, then you can use the new when helper. Enjoy. Thank you, Dan. Let me also show you two new methods that you already know, but not in this context. All right, so two new things that I want to show you. First, let's start out with the database. And we use a specific table users. And now here we have a new method called first or fail. So I'm pretty sure you know this method already from your Eloquent models, but now you can also use it through the query builder, which we use here by using the table users. And you can see this works. We have a user, and so we get one back. All right, that's the first thing. Second here is let's get all the users here. And now on the users, I have a new method which I can call. So remember, we're now inside a collection here, and we can find or fail a specific user with a specific ID. Here we get number 1. Let's look for number 2. Let's look for number 200. And this is not working anymore. And if I toggle this off, you can see we get now a model not found exception, which is exactly the point here. Yeah, so you can use this method, and if it's not given, it will give you back an exception. Thank you, Taylor and Steve. In this 11.23 release are also some features that Taylor announced at Laracon Live, which you can see in this talk linked up somewhere here. But one of them I needed to show you in this video because I couldn't defer it any longer. So here's the scenario for this example. We're making a request to the home page. Then we're logging that we have started. Then we are taking this action. This is an analytics action. So this means this is some kind of heavy action, which takes some time. And then we are infoing out the end and then returning the welcome screen again. So I have here already prepared paid here. So we'll see all the logs here. So let's run this together here. You can see this is loading. After a couple of seconds, this site is being loaded again. And we can see start at 24 seconds, tracking done after 4 seconds, and then we're immediately returning everything to the user and this request ends. So this means the whole request takes 4 seconds, and it also takes 4 seconds until the user sees the page again, which of course you can imagine is not so good. So what can we do about this? Of course, we can put this inside a job and onto a queue. That's what you hopefully do for stuff like that. But sometimes, yeah, you don't have that. You can't do this. Or for simple things, you just don't need to do this because we have something new which we can do. Let's start Pale here again. All right, so what we're now doing is we're using this new defer action, which Taylor demonstrated at the Laravel, which gets a short closure here. So we're just wrapping this inside a defer call here. And let's now see what happens here. I'm going to refresh this. Immediately you can see this has already been loaded. We can see start and end almost immediately. And we're still tracking the stuff. So everything which we're doing inside this action is still going to be run, but it's going to be run. It's going to be deferred after the request has been sent back to the user. And only then we're going to run this, which you can imagine is pretty cool because the user immediately gets the response back, the view or data, what you're doing here, but you still can do important stuff that you want to do. You're just deferring it to do this later, which is amazing for the user. Of course, be aware that still your request has to do all the work, so still some work that has to be done, even if it has already been sent back to the user. But still, for small things where you don't want to push something to a queue, this is a great addition. Thank you, Tim. Have fun with this fully packed new release and let me know which of the mentioned features you like the most in the comments. And see you the next time. Bye.